they're going to protect them in the vaccine industry, period.
Yep.
There's no,
And to complement what you're saying here, the Overstood Human Podcast, unfiltered dialogue, real solutions, no labels. The Overstood Human Podcast exists to inspire people to live with strength, freedom, and a purpose in a world full of noise and division. We champion a life anchored in true health, strong family, personal sovereignty, and self-discovery, inspiring our listeners to thrive beyond the confines of the designed system. Our mission is to inspire you to break free from mediocrity, think independently, and live a life of meaning, resilience, and impact. And to complement what you're saying here, just this quote from this doctor again, this is what the movement does. It finds a tragedy, attaches a vaccine to it, and uses the grief to garner support. An organization that cared about these children, I think, would have waited to find out how they died. And he's talking about the Children's Health Defense. So interesting how that works, right? Where's the concern of all the kids that are, adrenochrome and being sacrificed and raped and everything else, right? Sex trafficking and all that. Where's the outrage for that from people like this at John J. Hopkins, let's say?
Yeah.
Right. But it just so happens that we can attack something like the Children's Health Defense because they came to the aid of this woman, having them on to get her story out. And of course, they didn't do their due diligence to find out really how these children died. So shame on them. Yeah. So you can see how this all works, right? How this, and any, just be rest assured that any of these lamestream outlets are going to, they're not going to give you the truth on this story. Whether this woman, again,
the news is owned by the same people that kill the children, that's owned by the same people that control the vaccines. Like if they're all together, all one. So they're going to feed to you what they want you to know. I really hope and I pray that she's got the funding to hire some of the top best doctors that have worked with parents or protected parents against vaccines. And so I really hope that her defense team is so strong and that the truth come out and the jury sees that this poor woman, if she's innocent, that she's innocent. And it would be not only, this is not only just such a tragic story, but to then have that be the ending of this tragic story would just, I don't even know if there's words to explain it.
No. And what's, like I said to you before off air too, what's interesting to me is how she's in jail, but there is a dad involved. His name is Nathaniel, and they're married. So it's like, why are the charges against him?
Yeah.
Right. Why is it just with her? Like, we need to do more. We probably need to do a part 2 on this and do more digging on this girl, who she is, who her parents are, who her uncles are. Like, I wonder if there's something else attached to this. Like, because again,
keep quiet with something else. There's she's linked to something that they.
Yeah, I wonder. Probably should have went down that rabbit hole for this episode, but
I mean, it's just.
Yeah. You have to ask all of these questions, and you have to know where things are linked and connected. It's no different than what's that, the NBC Savannah Guthrie, where the mother was missing, and they never found her, but then there was a lot of information that came out that Savannah Guthrie's husband had a connection to Epstein, with something with his.
She had just done an interview, I think, on some of the victims of the
Epstein files. Correct.
She does an interview, and then if her mom was abducted, and who freaking knows, because
exactly.
I'm going to get my news from. But if that's all true, the web is deep.
It's always a big web. Yeah. So it's interesting again why. That's an interesting thing that I would like to find out. Why is the husband walking around and is it just her? Like, I don't know. Are they, again, from what I understand, they're still married, and those are their children. So I'm assuming they live together. So if she's a suspect,
I think there's
why isn't he?
Yeah.
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 So So as we started out with this, it's important to really grasp the concept that if you know of anyone in your bloodline that has had issues with these safe and effective one size fits all products, that you should really, really think it through and know that it's okay to say no. And listen, I know it's scary and it's overwhelming at first when you think, oh my God, like what would I do? Would I homeschool? Would I have to leave? Like, would I have to move? Like, how would I do it? Look, walk by faith, not by sight. That's all I can say. I mean, I am a person with my family, and I know many of others that have done the same thing. Like, and that's what's heartbreaking. I've had so many people reach out to me over the years, like, because I'm from New York, so there's a lot of family in New York, still lifelong friends, and they'll reach out to me like, hey, like, what could I do? Like, I'm scared to do it, and I'm like, you got to leave. Like, there's nothing else. And 99.9% of these people end up not leaving, and they end up doing it because they don't want to inconvenience themselves. Their parents are there, their siblings, whatever the case may be. Oh, I'll just spread it out. It's like again, when you're putting something foreign like that into your body, especially when the body is developing, we don't know what 3, 6, 9, 12, 18 months looks like after getting injected with that, what that's doing, right? What is that doing?
You're playing Russian roulette. You just
Yeah,
not worth it.
the manufacturers that are producing these products they certainly have no interest in knowing that, because if there was anything negative, well, that's bad for business. I mean, it's a business, people. And I don't know what let me ask any of the listeners here, and sound off on the comments, please. But you know, which one of you would feel okay with going to a store right now and purchasing something that you were going to put in your body, that if something happened, you can't do anything about it? Like, it's like, there's zero liability. And anyone I propose that to, they usually like, oh, I wouldn't do that. Like, that's crazy. I wouldn't want to do that. It's like, well, you're doing that with this. And that's the crazy, like, the lack of education on this topic, right? It's like majority of people do not know that. They do not know that, like, about the Vaccine Liability Act in 1986, and how it still stands till this day. They don't know that.
Yeah.
And that's scary. Like, that's scary. And then again, we wonder why we see so many of these issues with children. And the interesting too is, like, I hate the term anti-vaxxer. Like, I hate that term. I despise it, because I don't believe anyone's anti-vax. I think there's either you're pro-vax or you're an ex-vaxxer. Most people who are anti-vax are ex-vaxxers, right? Like, they've either had something where they've had a bad reaction, like myself, or they actually did some digging and educated themselves, and now they're an ex-vaxxer, right? Like, most people aren't just born anti-vaxxers. If like my child, your children, like, yeah, they're being raised that way because in their lineage, someone had to spearhead it who was once a believer in it and now had to, like, become an ex-vaxxer.
Okay.
So, like, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
so I hate when that term, oh, you anti-vaxxers. It's like, nah, dude, like, anti-vaxxer is really an ex-vaxxer. Like, because we were all force-fed this belief system in this product, right? We were all fed it, all of us, right? So anyone who is opposing it in 2026 are more than likely people who have actually tried to study it to the best of their ability, and more than likely probably have a better understanding about these products than your doctor, your pediatrician, your family doctor. Like, they probably do, because, as you say, Sarah, I mean, you've said this before, and let's just get it in this episode. Throughout medical school, how much time was spent on understanding the intricacies of vaccine throughout your education?
Zero.
Say that again.
Zero. We were taught the schedule, and we were
Good
taught
for business.
effective. And
Good
we
for
were
business.
taught that any parent that comes to your clinic that doesn't want a vaccine on their child is a liability and shouldn't be there.
Good for business.
That's it.
So it's all good for business, like everything you were taught.
Yeah, that's it.
So there you go. So, I mean, the the average person who maybe is your mechanic and maybe bringing this up to you about like, hey, if this ever, they're probably more educated about it than your doctor.
You're right.
Because they're willing to try to understand it from all angles. Whereas, again, the most medical professionals I have no interest in that. I learned it in school, and it's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
That's it, right? I mean, that's what we're dealing with here.
Yeah.
So
we'll see. But
go ahead.
I said, we'll see what happens in this, and maybe we talk about it as I don't know when they're going to do jury selection or what, but it would be worth another episode on this.
Yeah, we definitely need to, and I think it's definitely worth investigating who Andrea Shaw is and just who she's connected to, and I don't know, something tells me there's more to the story on that front.
Sure.
Because again, if the woman's on record for saying that there's a family history of reactions, takes the kids to the ER afterwards, it doesn't, that part doesn't fit the narrative to me. At this point, it just doesn't add up to me. And I'd love to know who the husband is and where his lineage is and why he's walking free and she's not. She's being held on $2 million bail right now. So, she's not getting out anytime soon unless there's a tremendous amount of money raised for her, and if she's guilty, well, then that's a whole different, that changes the aspect of her story, but it doesn't change the aspect of the message, the takeaway of today's episode. And that's, I'll say it again, if you are on the fence or there is a family history of anything, please don't feel like you're backed against the wall. This is your child. This is your child. God gave you the gift to be the protector. And if it doesn't feel right to you, then it probably isn't right. Nobody knows your children better than you do. So don't get pushed by fear, by this brainwashing that everything is a one size fits all, because it just simply isn't, and every time this topic of vaccine comes up, I always say it. I know we've touched on it, but again, just think, people, the same doctor that's telling you it's okay to give, the same nurse that probably told this woman that you can give all 3 of these shots, which are really 5, to your 18-month-old children, it's perfectly fine and okay. But if the topic of food came up in that same conversation, they would have probably told her, eat one food at a time to make sure that there's no severe reaction. And it's funny, I was at my parents the other day and I opened up a jar of raw honey, and I just laughed at it because the big warning, any child under the age of 1 should not be consuming this in case of anaphylactic shock. Okay, if that's true for
botulism.
Yeah, if that's true for peanuts and honey and other types of foods, why isn't that true for something that you're injecting into an 18-month or a 3-day-old baby? Why vitamin K shot, right? An hour-long baby. What does that happen within the first hour, 2 hours?
Oh yeah, vitamin K is pretty quick. Just let the umbilical cord go until it's white. They get enough vitamin K in the umbilical cord. We clamp it immediately because it's so backwards.
It is. It's very backwards.
Upside down. So
it's very backwards.
Yeah.
It's very backwards, and it's again, no one is coming to save you in from that industry. They have no interest in protecting you. You're just a statistic. You're a statistic on a spreadsheet. That's it. And so more importantly, your child is. Yeah. So that should freak you out more than anything as a parent, and these doctors are, they are there's incentives. There are incentives to the amount that they administer. There are incentives. So look, it happens. And real quick before we wrap this up, I'd love to hear your take on this one too, because I've heard this from several medical professionals who are awake, just even in regards to the HPV shot. Like, I have heard from several medical professionals the same thing, how as soon as they administer that, they force that individual to lie down for at least 15 to 20 minutes, because the probability of that person just passing out and blacking out in the doctor's office is extremely high from that particular vaccine itself, HPV. And just there are a lot of irreversible symptoms that can come from the HPV. Can you speak to that in any way?
Making someone sterile. So there's a lot. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of the whole goal. If you understand the agenda, and you have to understand the agenda to understand the corruption. But the agenda is a one world government and to control the population. And we're overpopulated. Bill Gates has said it many times. The only way to decrease population is through vaccines. So not only are they going to injure you by giving a vaccine, but they're going to also make you sterile. So then you can't actually reproduce. It's the same thing with this whole LGBTQ transgenderism and getting, surgeries at a very young age. And this child who doesn't even like understand anything in life is now getting completely being mutilated to prevent them from having children. So it all funnels down. However you want to look at it, whatever direction it's coming from, the end result is the same. Control population, decrease population, and have absolute control over the world. So the HPV vaccine, I think, is probably the second worst vaccine besides COVID. So
second worst, you said?
Second worst. I mean, COVID vaccine is absolutely by far the worst vaccine that's out there, if you call it a vaccine. And then I think HPV probably comes right after that, and probably then MMR and then DTaP. And you could just keep going on and on and on. But HPV, and that actually came not only from what I've seen, but from the pediatrician that I met him during COVID. I gave him monoclonal antibodies. He worked for Kaiser when he came out. He was a vaccine pusher because that's what he was taught to do. And he said, I just kept getting family after family after family coming in. And mom kept saying, these things have changed in my child. And it was like, oh, they're crazy. And he said, you can't, after a while, you have to start going, there's a lot. And so he went from a Kaiser pediatrician enforcing vaccines and pushing them to actually quite the opposite in healing the vaccine injured and using holistic protocols to heal and take away the toxins from these vaccines in pediatric patients. So he had to branch out and start his own clinic. He's since lost his license for vaccine exemptions. But that was his, that's what he saw. And he said HPV vaccine was the worst. And then COVID came out. So it took that place.
How long has the HPV been on the market? Do you know offhand?
Oh, gosh. My daughter's 24, and I remember when she was about 8 going in and the pediatrician talking about it at that time. Thank God because I was unaware of the corruption. She said, we wouldn't do that right now, but telling me about it. So that's 14 years. No, that's 16 years. So probably around 16, 17, 18 years probably is my guess.
I have the first HPV vaccine was approved by the FDA June 8th, 2006.
There you go.
Initially introduced to protect females aged 9 to 26. Now routinely recommended for both boys and girls starting at age 9. Oh my God.
Don't do it. Yeah. Well, hopefully this episode you guys can, and really our goal is that you do your research. You don't blindly follow in anything, really. I mean, we're talking about vaccines, but in anything in life, like question everything. Don't believe what you're told. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of information to just research, and don't chat GPT it. Don't do, Grok or whatever, because those are all controlled by the same people that control your money, that control the vaccines, that are part of the Epstein files. So be careful where you get your information.
Yeah. I would just say anyone who's interested in really learning about it, there's tons of groups on social media. If you look at, even go to YouTube or Instagram or any of those, and there are videos, read the comments. Like, read the comments. You listen to people, like that's all you need, right? If you listen to real life testimonies of parents, it's mind-blowing. I mean, any of the videos I put out about that, and I go through the comments when I touch on vaccines, it just makes me sick to my stomach when I read what people write and messages I get about it, it's scary. It's really, really frightening. And we just need to do our best to be educated on this topic and get as much of this information out to people as possible, because I don't know what the future holds for the younger kids that are being born, and by the time they're 18, 72 shots and counting. Like, what is the future? What does that look like? What does that look like? So yeah, so everybody, I hope that this episode hit you on a level that at least if you're not awakened to this topic, that at least it's sparked your interest in it enough to go do your own homework and due diligence. That's all I can hope for from something like this. And again, Sarah, I think we should we'll definitely keep our eyes on this story, and I'm sure there's going to be more updated information coming out. And again, I just want to find out more about who this woman is connected to, the husband, etc., because something doesn't seem right. But we'll see how that all plays out. So I think that that covers it. Everybody that's joining us, we thank you. Again, whether you're listening to this on YouTube, Rumble, X, Spotify, please pass the word along to your family and friends. Pass these episodes. Sarah and I are always posting little short clips from each week's episode. We are doing weekly Facebook Lives. Typically, our go-to is always Wednesday nights around 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We either do it from my Fit Over Farmer page or Sarah's Holistic Sarah PA page on Facebook. And we'd like to take questions. And other than that, we appreciate everybody for joining us. And as always, Sarah, it's always a pleasure. It's great to see you.
Yeah.
And we will catch you guys on the next episode. Thanks again.
Okay.
Thank you for watching the Overstood Human Podcast. Be sure to join in next week. This podcast is for informational purposes only and is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. Always consult with your physician before starting any exercise program or doing anything contained in this podcast.